Let's go.
Hello. Surprise. This may take a while because I just put this up like 20 minutes ago. So I don't think hardly anybody's going to show up right away. So we'll fiddle around and see if anybody pops up. Yep, 2 people. Hello, Kay. How's it going? Happy Red Friday, everybody. Hope everyone's having a good day. Oh, there goes BushyBot. I was wondering if he's going to connect. All I know is yesterday, the thermometer out there in the shade said it was thermometer out there in the shade said it was thermometer out there in the shade. You got multiple things open. Yeah, there's like a big shade cloth over the garden section, and they have a thermometer out there, and it was 88 degrees, and that was in the shade. So, oh man, we were so busy, and technically I was the only one loading yesterday because, well, that's my job, but the manager, technically he's a salesman, but his job was that we had 2 trucks come in, and he had to unload the 2 trucks of farm equipment, and the other one was trailers, and put signs out. So I was like super busy. every time I have to load something, they give me a slip, and I stick it down in my vest, which I hate that vest because it's like wearing a coat. Because if I take that thing off, there's so much sweat on me, it looks like I'm wearing a vest of sweat.
Sounds like a winter vest instead of a summer vest.
Yeah, because it's got the reflectors on it and everything, and so nobody runs you over. Even though I've been bumped into, and about 5-6 miles an hour I got hit. I should have just like rolled on the ground. Oh, I can't walk.
Oh,
and
what's up, Texas Red Leg?
I'd feel bad. Hey, Texas Red Leg, long time no see.
Yeah, it must be hot out there where he's at.
Oh yeah, I think in Texas they were saying it was in the hundreds, certain areas of Texas. But that's normal weather for them.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, you let it get 100 here, you're gonna see a bunch of people inside in the AC.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting you tonight.
Yeah, it was the last minute. Me and my son went and got the big banana splits, and I started eating it, and I couldn't finish it. Normally I could eat the whole thing and not faze me, but I haven't been able to eat that much like I used to.
Come on down here. I'll treat you and your son to S&T's, and I promise you, you will not finish that gigantic banana split.
Well, the thing is, when I was a kid down in Florida, There used to be this ice cream shop and arcade built together.
Yeah.
They had a contest eating a banana split, and it was like 30 some bananas, and
Good
the
God.
ice cream was in a punch bowl, or the banana split was in a punch bowl. I sat there and ate that whole thing. Now,
Dude.
mind you, I won the money and then
How
proceeded to
long?
walk home, and I puked all the way home.
I was just fixing to say, how long did it stay down?
Oh, until I got out, got my money and got out. There was a trail. You could have followed me home with the trail of ice cream. And it was like a violent, it was like, it's like the Exorcist, you know how she spilled all that, but it was ice cream.
Now it's got to the point. If I eat that much now, that's what happens. If I'm driving, I gotta have the window down, and pray nobody passes me at the time.
Yeah.
As one thing that we intend to lose as we get older, we cannot eat near as much as we used to.
Well, the reason why is because of the carnivore diet. I don't eat that much. And I'm probably looking at, since I've been working, I probably dropped another 30 pounds
Really?
in a week. Yeah. I'm way under 200 now.
Now, what was it? I believe it was Monday or Tuesday. Me and the wife, we went to like Goodwill and places like that. I got looking at pants because everything I got, I take 2 steps and they fall to my ankles. Right?
Yeah. I've got to get a new belt.
Yeah, well, mine just about wrapped around me twice now. But the blue jeans that they had, you can't run fast enough to get me to wear them. That's them stretchy blue jeans.
Oh, I thought you're gonna start wearing skinny jeans.
They had a few of them up there too, and I just kept on looking. But I mean, they had Wranglers and they had Levi's up there, but none of them fit. So we went to another one, and they had a pair of, I'm gonna say, kind of like camouflaged, and they were 36s. $1.33 for that pair of pants. I got them.
Cheap compared to up here.
Yeah. Well, I grant you, it didn't come from Goodwill, because I think their pants started at like $7, $8. But I kept them. I put them on. I won't wear. If I buy clothes from a place like that, I won't wear them until they get washed. Period. So the wife wore them. I wore them for a full day without a belt. Now, if I walk from here to the bathroom, I got to put my hands in my pocket to keep them up.
Yeah, I have this belt that it's kind of like a military belt, but it's the belt buckle. It's got a catch on it to where you feed it in this way. So the long part of the belt goes on the inside. So once it gets about on this side of me, it's too hard for me to crank it down anymore.
I know where you're coming from. I love them belts.
Yeah. All you have to do is push a button and they come right out. and they're good. They're they're some of the best things for tourniquets and stuff like that. They have,
Oh yeah.
they're multiple use type of things.
Well, now the belt I got now, it's got the double holes in it. Okay. And when I pull them to the side, I mean, I got so much dangling down, I got to put it in my pocket, in my front pocket. And I'm like, dude, some of the looks I get when I go into stores. But I think at that time I bought it, I could put it in like the third set of holes. Okay. I'm down to about 12, maybe 13 rows on that belt. Yeah, time for me to buy another belt. But forget the belt. I want a pair of suspenders for my underwear and a belt to hold my pants up.
I went to Walmart to buy a new pair of shoes because I'm blowing the back end of my tennis shoes out right now. Because the raining, I've been on days that it's been raining and stuff, so my feet are soaking wet.
Okay.
And it just tearing the shoes up. Like the back of my shoes are like full on plastic, hard plastic.
Yeah.
So my foot keeps rubbing up against that and irritating it. But I went up there just find a cheap pair of shoes, to get me by. $35, $40 for Walmart brand shoes. And I'm like, what the heck? Where are the $19 ones and the clearance ones? And none of them were on my size. So, oh man.
The bad thing about Walmart shoes is they don't sell my size.
Yeah, they didn't have my size.
Up there at Goodwill, they had dress shoes, pure leather. Okay. 12Ds. Dude, my toenails was backing up in that thing. They were tight. But for the width, man, they were comfortable. And wife said, can you wear them? I looked at her. Yeah, I can wear them. She said, she looked at me and said, can you wear them shoes? I said, not really. $5 for them things. God almighty.
Yeah, our Goodwill, it used to be an old building on Main Street, and then they built a building just for Goodwill. And as soon as they moved in, the prices went through the roof. I mean, it's still cheaper than going to a store and buying the stuff, but in some cases it's
not by much.
Yeah. But every once in a while, like we were actually, I went in there first and looked, and they had a binder full of Pokemon cards, and they put a price on there, $49. And I said, well, that's too much. And so the next day we went back, and I was telling my son, I don't know if these are any good cards or not. And I sent him a picture of a Charizard card, and he said, oh my God, you need to get that. And I said, why? And he said, that's the first edition Charizard card. And it's like a few $1,000s. And when we went back, they only wanted 24, and I was like, oh, and I got it. And because it was close to his birthday. And I said, well, there's your birthday present.
There. They up here, they had a old desk. Now, mind you, Salvation Army, the stuff is given to them. Okay. Yeah. They had an old desk in there. Man, if it was $100 or cheaper, I would have got it that day. I mean, I'd went in debt for it. I got looking around that thing, and it had, let's say, a safe area, if you know what I'm saying, in there. And then I got to looking for the price. I let out a squeal only a female could do, and everybody turned around and looked at me. And the wife said, "Did you figure out how much they wanted for that?" I said, "Yeah." It was $1,898 for that thing. Dude, God, I mean, somebody making a killing off of that one, boy.
Oh yeah. Oh, so how's everybody doing tonight, other than trying to stay cool and all that? It's about time for me to get my second AC in the window.
Well,
it's just me, and we're already in the high 80s.
Wife woke me up this morning about 3:30. Turn that air on. I can't sleep. I looked at her and said, "Really?" Yeah. Woke me up from a sleep. Well, wasn't really asleep. Got up, turned it on. I think I woke up, what was it? First time, 7:30 this morning. I've been up ever since 9 o'clock, took medicine, went outside and done some work. Man, I'm going to tell you what, I got to get rid of my chainsaws. That's all there is to it. I've done 2 hours of work with my chainsaw. Now it's going to take me 2 months to clean up what 2 hours with the chainsaw did. But
poor Jennifer up there. Yeah. She has to keep the heat on still.
Where's she at?
Canada.
Oh.
97.
Well, they say.
Yeah, yesterday the humidity, because first thing I thought, oh, it's not going to be too bad today. It's already sprinkling. As soon as the rain went away, it was so muggy. I couldn't get any oxygen breathing, so I had to close my mouth and just breathe through my nose, because just doing little tasks like putting in 10, 15, 20 bags of mulch, trying to catch your breath from that. Oof. So
I thought everybody breathes like that.
Well, you get more oxygen if you breathe through your nose.
Well, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but like if you exert yourself, you automatically open your mouth to bring in more air, but it dampens how much air you get, especially if it's muggy. So that's why I just sit there afterwards and just go until I, actually get some oxygen in my lungs to where I can stop panting so much. And of course, I'm 57 years old, so that doesn't help things. I get told, don't they have any young guys out to load these vehicles? I said they don't want to work. so they
Dude, I go to grocery stores around here, and you see females getting the buggies in. I ask them, I said, "Where's all the guys at?" I had one look at me. She said, "I'll outwork any guy working here."
Yeah.
I mean, dude, guys today are not the same as what they was when we was coming up.
No.
At all.
No, I think that's why I get along with the and everybody says he's mean and he's all kinds of stuff with the boss, and I get along with him fine. I probably should be quiet while I'm talking because people know I'm a YouTuber already, because people come in, because there's people come from, because we're the only Rule King around here, so there's people that come in and say, aren't you the Bushcraft guy? Yeah, what are you doing working here? I thought you were a YouTuber. I say, YouTube doesn't pay enough, at least not to me.
Not like he did, what, 6-7 years ago.
Well, not even that. At one point, I was getting 380 some thousand views a day. If you look at my analytics, there's 1 year where it's like woof, it goes off the chart, and then if you look at that year, you can see that at the peak I was getting 300 some thousand a day views, and then it goes all the way down to this little line where I'm getting like 8,000-9,000 or something like that. I forget what I'm getting now. I'm getting 12,000 a month views.
What, views? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had to hurry up and clarify that.
That's for 28 days when I used to get, and this is what's really screwed up with YouTube. If you look, you go to my about page and see how many total views I have, it says like 950,000. The thing is, if you look at my analytics, I'm close to 10 million views. It's because they deleted certain videos of mine. And you can imagine what videos those are. And when they delete the videos, it still counts as views in the analytics, but it doesn't count as views on the channel. And I've told them this, and they said, well, it's because you may have had videos that don't align with the YouTube policies and things, their terms.
Well, I can't say nothing. But
I know. And what you going to do about it, I mean, there are people out there that make really good content that they may get a YouTube check every 6 months, which, and there's people that show their behind running it out into the ocean, and they get 100,000 views a day off that video.
What's up, 101? Good evening, sir.
Hey, 101. Are you going live tonight?
No, he's too tired.
I was at the ice cream place, and one of the flavors is, what was it? Michigan pothole. I said 101, and he said, we have some of those up here.
Oh. Well, dude, my neighbor may be getting some goats here shortly.
Oh, free lawnmower, as long as they don't go in the garden.
Yeah, I'm waiting on my landlord now to say yay or nay. We got a great big hill. Boy, I need about 15 of them right there on that hill.
Okay, you'll be on tomorrow night then. Okay. Unless you eat too much and you can't drive home.
Hey, wait a minute. How old's your cousin, for one thing? Because I want to know what type of birthday party you having. If he's over 21, I'll be there.
Well, I don't think they have the parties anymore. It's all online, and everybody joins a call, and it's weird.
You know, I couldn't wait until I turned 21. And I
You
think
waited
when
until
I
you turned 21?
well, legally. And then after I turned 21, it's like, what else is there? I
Yeah.
done turned 18.
Oh, he's going to be
done turned
17.
21. Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, I remember working all week,
Caitlin,
and then Friday, Saturday, it was like, well, I should say
yeah.
Friday night was really good. Saturday morning really sucked because I still had to go to work. And then Sunday, you were recovering, and then you back to work on
Uh-huh.
Monday.
Well, now, as bad as I did my partying, I'll leave it alone at that. If I had to work the next day, I wouldn't do nothing the night before, like that. But there's been a few times where I partied on the job, let's put it like that. And but once, twice, to my knowledge, on that right there.
and that's the thing. I remember. Well, you probably had these too, but we would find a location, um, and everybody would go to that location. Somebody would bring a load of firewood. Somebody would bring coolers. Somebody
Yeah.
would bring food, and that's everybody parked around this big campfire, and
Mm-hmm.
that was the party. Um,
Well, down here is what you said, but mainly pickup trucks and quads. Because when we throw one like that, it's way into the woods. There's no way
well,
you're going to see it from the
mine was
roadside.
out in the desert,
Okay.
so yeah, that and I can't remember the river or anything, but I know it was up toward past up Tempe, Arizona, and we would start in the morning,
Hey, chicken noodle.
and everybody would get in inner tubes, and we would have like 3 inner tubes that had coolers, and they were packed, and
Okay.
it took all day to get to the end of this, from the drop off point to the end of this
The
little
pickup.
river. And it wasn't deep. I mean, there might have been some spots that were like 4 feet or something like that, but you just floated down the whole day.
To me, that's relaxed.
If you made it all the way, I'll put it that way.
Could you walk when you hit your pickup point?
Well, that's the thing. Usually, there was vehicles left at the end spot, so those vehicles would drive you up to the other vehicles.
Drop.
So
Okay.
it was a planned thing. So half the vehicles were in one area, half was at the other area.
Okay. Well,
Tempe, Arizona.
smart.
It's southeast of Phoenix, Arizona.
Okay. There was a place that we went to. It was oh hell.
It might be. I can't remember. Again, this 80s. There's some years in the 80s I don't remember the whole year. I get flashbacks of them, but that's about it. But
I think we
it's
all
famous.
do.
It's famous for that. If it takes all day to get to the end of it, that's probably it. And Chicken Noodle is from that area, so she probably already knows it.
Okay. Okay. We
I think that's what it was called.
come summertime, a lot of the times weekends roll around, we'd go down to the river with fishing poles. We'd stay there the whole weekend,
Oh yeah.
and I didn't know it, but we was doing this on someone else's land. And he come out there, and I mean, come on, dude. He was about 3 sheets in the wind, okay, trying to run us off and everything. And his son, which I've met a couple of times,
Yeah.
he asked me, he said, "Ain't you such and such?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Pop, leave him alone. He's good people." And ever since then, I'd go up to the house, I'd talk to him, do a little work in the yard with him or whatever,
Yeah.
And last I heard, he got out of jail quite a few years ago,
Well, Chicken Noodle Girl, you probably know what when I talk about Superstition Mountain, you probably know what that is. I
I've
think
heard of
it's
it.
Apache Junction,
Back
outside
a
of
minute.
Apache Junction. And I don't even know if there was water by there, but we went out there for a party. I do remember a tree somewhere over there. Okay, yeah. And and it sounds weird, but this is the second time in my life where I could have swore I seen a gargoyle flying. And there's, if you talk to the Indians in that, and I'm sorry if Indians offend you, but that's what I always call it. That's what they prefer. The ones I talk to anyway. There's, and that's what they call it, Superstition Mountain, because they're supposed to be gargoyles in that mountain or something like that. It's like a Indian burial, and there's supposed to be gold throughout that area too. But we went out there, and I could have swore I seen a gargoyle. The other time, I was under influence of some stuff, so it could have been that, but I still swear I seen it the second time, and that was in Vegas. Because there's a difference between a little bat or a bird than seeing a full figured gargoyle, because you can hear like the air soaring through this thing. It wasn't just seeing something in the sky. You could hear the noise when it flapped, and then when it soared, you could hear the wind under its wings. I know that's a weird story, but yeah. But yeah, I wouldn't mind going back to my old stomping grounds in Arizona to see how it's grown and everything. I've looked at maps of some of the places I used to work, and they're still there, like an apartment complex where I was a maintenance man. Catch you later, chicken noodle girl. Yeah, I lived down Van Buren Street, which is at that time was what 101 calls the ghetto. um, to me, that was normal for me, that area. And that's where Ponchos was, down on Van Buren Street, and then there was a movie theater. Can't remember. Probably been 23rd Avenue or 19th Avenue area on Van Buren Street, and again, there wasn't very many white people in that. It was all majority was Mexican, and I never got in fights with anybody other than, you stole my girlfriend. No, I didn't. I don't even know who she is. That type of thing. But again, during the 80s, uh, uh, Mexican girls, they used tons of hairspray and their hair was way up here. I mean, and it was frizzed out. And if you ever went to the movies and had one of those girls sitting in front of you, you're not going to watch the movie because you can't see. In 80s anyway, every girl was, flinging their hair straight up in the air.
I always found the couple that wore the big hats in the walk-in theater.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, well, see, that's a good thing about the deserts. You can go walk out into the desert and find turquoise, and that sells pretty good. And this was in the 70s, probably. I found a chunk of it like this. At that time, I sold it for $750 in the 70s.
Turquoise ain't a big quality like it used to be. I mean, back in the day, everybody wore it around here.
Well, it was Indians. That was their way of making money. They would make silver and turquoise. That was their main ingredient for their jewelry.
Let's see.
And right now I have exactly 0 turquoise, which you would think I would have a lot of it. I don't have any turquoise anymore. Yeah, there were some girls that didn't do their hair up. That's what Now there were some girls or some like Lita Ford during a concert she would spike her hair out and stuff, but after it was over and shower or whatnot, it was just flat, natural, I guess you would call it.
Well, okay.
We called it rooster hair.
Yeah, I have heard that phrase.
Well, my dad used to say he would have the pompadour hair up here, and then he would have his words, a duck's ass in the back, and that it's basically where you fold it over like this, because you would sling it back, and then it would flip over to where it had kind of like two little tails.
Okay.
And a bunch of whatever the gel or the grease that they used, and that was during his time, the 50s and 60s.
I can't even think of it.
Oh,
Gentleman Jim was one of them.
Gentleman Jim, he was a boxer.
Maybe it wasn't that one. Well,
Bare knuckle boxing.
Oh, that's when boxing was boxing.
Yep.
What was it? Because I remember my pop wearing some at one time. The gel in his
I
hair.
can see it, but I can't remember the name of it.
Exactly. Come in a little tin can.
Tube, yeah.
What
They didn't have the plastic back there. It was the roll up metal tubes.
one with the key in it, where you turn the key and it rolled the tube tighter.
They might have been.
Well, I remember Pop having it like a little tin can that he'd pop the top on it and put some on his fingertips. Me back in my day, we had hairspray.
We got Burl Cream, True Gel, Pearl. That's a woman's one. I'm trying to think. I still don't see it. I always thought that he was squirting Vicks out on him, putting it in his hair. Oh man, I still don't see it. There's Free and Clear, and that's a plastic tube, so that wasn't it. There's Murphy. There's Dippity Doo.
That was it.
That's in a jar. There's a green one and a pink one. Vintage pink Dippity Doo. And there is some canned ones here. I wish I could play the commercial. Dang it.
That one, in the movie. Oh, shit. Can you think of the name of the movie now? Something Dan.
Did anybody come up with it in chat yet? I'm looking at another page. There's Dax.
Wasn't there one called something Dan or Dan something?
I don't know.
Because that was in a movie and I can't think of the name of it.
Right here, let's look at men's hairstyles.
Oh no.
Here, let me open this in a new link.
I
I'll
think
show
back
you what
then.
I'll show you what my dad's was. My dad's and my uncle.
No damn wonder. Okay.
Like that.
I know who you're talking about, but Pop, he mainly kept crew cuts. You know, his was a little bit longer, well, a little bit shorter, but not much.
Yeah, well, my dad always did the Elvis Presley thing. So Brill cream, yeah, that was one. I remember that. Now, I actually in the 80s I used, and this was before mousse, and I did use hair gel, and this thing came in a little tub like this, and you unscrewed the top, and you just rub it in there, and
Yeah.
I actually, because across the street, because I lived in a trailer, it was a campground, but it was more of a trailer court. I right across the street from our trailer was a playground. So I would come out of the shower and I'd put this stuff in my hair and I would hang upside down because I had really, really long hair. And in the desert heat, the stuff would dry like really fast. And when I stood up, my hair was way up in the air. And my hair went past my butt. That's how long it was. So when it was stood up, I was probably about 7.5 feet tall. So I would sit there in the middle of the playground and start head banging it until it gave away, and then it was like Motley Crue, the big hair bands, and then I would go to work.
Good evening, Josh.
Because we didn't wear headband or hair nets back then.
No.
And I got a lot of tips. Even though as a bus boy, I would get more tips than the waitress or the waiters, depending on who was there. I'll put it that way. I was really bad back then too. I'll just leave it at that.
I think all of us had a wild streak.
Yeah, depth gel. I think that's what I used actually.
Depth gel.
Yeah,
I never heard that one.
Yeah, but it was in a tub. I don't see any. This is the newer stuff. So because I had a lot of hair, so I had to use a lot. Let me see what it looked like in the 80s.
Well, I found out a piece of
news there it is.
I did not know. You know, the first bathtub that was ever sold was not meant for a person to take a bath in. It was meant to scald hogs in.
I wouldn't doubt it.
And Kohler come out with it.
Well, you know what we use to cut chainsaws down with. That the first thing it was used for, it wasn't used for cutting trees down. It was used for women that was having a baby.
Why is it? It seems like you told me that.
Yeah. I was like, oh man, that's horrible. Could you imagine somebody starting up a chainsaw when you're having a kid? Please, no.
Dude, I'd come up off of that table and say, that baby's staying.
But you look up the history of a chainsaw. You would never think 100 years it'd be used for anything but cutting a tree down.
I like to know when the first chainsaw was invented.
That's what it was invented for.
I mean,
childbirth for women.
Yeah, damn, us guys take y'all women for granted, don't we?
I'm like, this got to be a joke. And I went and looked into it, and it's true. And I'm like,
yeah.
What?
All I know is I'm glad I wasn't around back then.
Yeah, I get a kick out of nowadays. You hear, oh, my labor was so horrible. I was in labor for 3.5 hours. I'm like, what? I'm like, my wife was like 2 days. And the other ones were pretty quick. I would say pretty quick, but still, one was 24 hours, the other one was 12, and I think a couple of them were under 4 hours. But yeah,
I think our first one, Dixie, was in labor for something like 12 hours. But I'm gonna tell you, they were some hard hours.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I still get pains in my hand. I always get a kick out of nurses and say, "Are you okay with this?" There's a lot of husbands that they say they're okay, and then we have to pick them up off the ground. And I say, "No, I'm good. I'm good."
Oh, now I did not go in when my son was born, which for me, that was a mistake. Okay. I did not know what I was missing at the time.
Mm.
But when my daughter was born, they tricked me into going in there. And yeah, I mean, the head nurse was, you got to put this on, you got to put this on. Why? Your wife's going in labor. Duh, you know, she's freaking. I had no idea. After I got it all on, come on in here. Hey, wait a minute. Hold it. My wife's on the table. Yeah. Well, I was already in there. Go on, get over with. That was one of the best things I think I've ever seen.
Oh yeah.
But the bad thing about it is the doctor handed me the scissors to cut the cord. I said, no, I ain't cutting it like that. And and the doctor got the afterbirth out. And I said, damn, that looks like them eggs I ate this morning. That nurse got sick. You could hear her heaving.
Yeah, I didn't cut any cords, but I was there for all of them, and I wouldn't pass it up for anything, and I cried for every one of them.
But you know,
now if you've never experienced it as a father, I can understand, but once you witness one, you don't want to miss them.
Oh no,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just something you really can't explain.
Yeah.
You got to be there. You know, I mean, and on account of that, I think me and my daughter are a little bit closer on account of that, you know. And other than the doctor, I can't remember if I was the first one to hold her or if they went straight to the mother and give Dixie. And
Well,
give it to 'em.
they go to the thing to make sure they're okay and get the
Yeah.
pricks and stuff. Yeah.
Well,
Then nowadays they give it to the father and the father takes it to the mom. That's around here. I don't know. It could be different other places.
well, I know times have changed a
Yeah.
lot, but I did not know they don't pop them on the behind no more.
That's they usually don't need to. I'll put it that way. If they need to, then they do.
Well,
Or usually that prick on the foot usually does it.
well, with my daughter, they popped her twice. And I think the first time she opened up her eyes and looked at the doctor like, "Put me back. I was comfortable."
Yeah, I remember the first two. I had to wear the gown, the mask, and the whole 9 yards. The rest of them go in your regular clothes. The doctor's in his regular clothes. The doctor wore a gown to protect his clothes, more or less, and gloves and whatnot. But there's nothing because it was really nowadays instead of a labor room, it's your room that you stay in.
Yeah, it is.
And you have the baby, and then once the baby's out, they move all the stuff out, and that's your room for. And I remember 5 days for my oldest daughter. Second oldest daughter was 4 days. 4 days for my son. The rest of them was 3. Nowadays, they get out the next day.
Well, now,
or they go home the next day.
I think it was with my son that was born. We, the hospital, give us a steak dinner that night and champagne.
Yeah.
And I think, oh God, yeah, let me get
that,
some of
that little bottle of champagne for 2.
No, believe it or not, it was a good sized bottle of champagne.
Oh.
I poured the wife about a half a glass, and I poured myself a half a glass, and I took a swallow and poured the rest of mine out and told the nurse to take it back. I wanted tea. That was some of the nasty. I think Mad Dog 2020 would have tasted better than that champagne.
Oh, I don't know about that, but yeah, I remember we got a good dinner for my 2 oldest daughters. And we got, I don't know what it was, like a barbecue something or another for my oldest son. And then my next son, we got the next 3 or the next 2 after that, we got lunch meat platter that we got to take home, which I didn't mind. I mean, we had sandwiches for a couple of days after that, but which is good because you're bringing home a new baby and stuff. The wife is sitting in bed most of the time, relaxing, because there's a lot to deal with afterwards. I'm just not talking about the baby, but yeah. So not having to cook and stuff is good.
Well, I think, what was it? The first month, maybe so. Now, mind you, the wife's on maternity leave from work, and I'm still working. Back then they didn't believe in maternity leave for guys.
Yeah, for the dad. The dad
Right.
didn't get no time off. Yeah.
No. But my wife just went through hell. Me, I was getting up during the night doing the feedings, the changing, and everything else while she slept. and I'd still get up and go to work, but boy, let me tell you something. That first night, the wife got up with him and everything. I thought, oh God, thank you. He would not shut up.
Well, that's a good thing about that's a good thing about breastfeeding youngins.
Now, that's something I couldn't do.
Slide the baby right up in there, and while your wife's sleeping, your job's done. Besides, after a few minutes, and that's the thing. I don't even know why we're getting in this conversation.
I don't either.
I'm just saying, you don't have to burp them as much. I'll leave it at that.
Oh my God! Don't even. I found out the second go round, you better put a towel over your face.
You know what? One of the worst things is the first 24 hours. What comes out of that baby? Oh, it's the worst smelling stuff.
Yep.
Oh,
let me tell you something.
I mean, the rest of it's not any better, but it's not as bad as the first couple days of when the baby starts pooping.
Yeah, you look at that youngin and say, "How in the world can something your size put out such a smell like that?" But it's like this right here. Don't never ever feed a youngin and then get in the floor and throw them up in the air.
Yeah.
Because you both liable to be barfing.
We used to have this neighbor where we go over and get milk, and why my wife decided to use the same container as the containers we would go get milk next door for.
Oh no. I know where this is going.
Yeah.
How
Let
long,
me tell you, Captain Crunch. I still can't eat Captain Crunch cereal after that. I got that in there, and what is up with the milk? And I'm looking at it again, smelling it, can't figure it out. And my wife's over there laughing, and I'm like, "What?" She tells me, and I'm like, "Why would you put it in that container?" Hey, Vester.
Now that would have been real funny if you had somebody over you really didn't care about.
Well, it's sad, but there are people out there that pay for that stuff.
Dude, I'm like you. I tried it one time accidentally. Y'all can have it shit. I'm sorry. That's nasty.
Well, my second oldest daughter had to have a special type of formula. It was pre-digested formula. I don't know how they pre-digested it, but that stuff was, because, try this. It's not that bad. And I said, okay. Yeah. Oh, man.
Saw that one.
Yep.
I think the wife, she had to end up having goat milk, could only drink goat milk, because regular milk or canned milk or something like that, it make her sick. And you know how old people back then were, well, put her on this, do this.
Yeah.
You know, look, I don't. If it works, it works. Okay. My son had the colic. Oh my God. The only way he would go to sleep was in a car. And when that car, he was awake. About
Yep.
6 months of that. That was real.
Yeah, my grandpa used to say, and this was before I had kids, so the best thing for a colic baby is corn mash, or you know what I mean. So
Yeah.
you dip your thumb in that and then stick it in the baby's mouth, and colic will go away.
Yeah.
That's what they
For a
used.
little while.
That's what he gave all his kids if they had the colic. And I always wondered, like, well, can we stop them from getting it so I don't have to worry about it? And
Well,
they
I'm
say
kind of like
nowadays
you.
it's a lot of the formula and stuff. It's the air intake when the baby's having um, eating and whatnot. If they get
Yeah.
air trapped in there, and if it's got like bacteria in the air or something, it'll cause
Okay.
that gas and the bile in their stomachs. I don't know. I'm not a
No,
doctor or anything.
well, I think the funniest thing about it is, I told no, who was it? My wife, my daughter. Before my daughter was born, before we found out the wife was pregnant, I looked at the wife and I said, "You pregnant again?" She said, "How can you tell?" I said, "Because I'm the one having morning sickness," which I did. And she
Yeah,
laughed. And a couple of days later, she said, "You're right. I'm pregnant." And I went, "Oh God."
yeah. I had the back pains, my wife's back pains, for my second youngest one,
Yeah.
and he's still a pain in the ass.
It looks like I'm on the right show.
Yeah, Dana B, for my second oldest daughter, my wife was on bed rest for the whole pregnancy, and she hated
My wife,
every bit of it. I worked 2 jobs, come home, cleaned, did laundry and all that stuff, and went back to work. In a week's time, I probably went to sleep maybe 4 hours for the whole week,
mm,
and I did that for a year and a half. And I said that's it. I said I want a job as an operator. Whoever hires me first gets me. And like 10 minutes after I said that, because I called both companies, and 10 minutes after one company called me and said, you want to come in Monday as an operator? So, yep. Called the other company and told them I quit.
Were they looking for a smooth operator?
Yeah, pretty much. I was pretty much, because I remember I broke my ankle,
Wow.
and I stayed and continued working. So they put me on cleanup, just mopping and cleaning stuff while I had the cast and stuff on, and that was
Bushcraft,
that
old
was
school.
afterwards.
Either one of y'all. How many times have either one of y'all or anybody else in chat gone into work sick as a dog, puking, throwing up?
Yesterday, the night before
Now.
I got food poisoning, so I was up all night puking, and actually puked twice when I was in a drainage ditch at the store. And it was 88 degrees out.
You let a youngin' nowadays get sick, I ain't going in.
And top it off, and it's not that big of a deal. It's just a cut, but it's on my thumb, right here on my thumb, and it's so annoying because everything you grab, and you can't keep a Band-Aid on it. I put duct tape around I put a Band-Aid on, put duct tape around it, still pops off.
Yep. I have used duct tape, electrical tape, matter of fact, even Scotch tape as Band-Aids quite a few times.
Yeah.
You know.
Jeff, I get cut a lot just from the trees.
Well, this was from and I talked to a guy, he was a tree farmer. And he was giving me some good information, but it wasn't a Christmas tree. But he bought 6 rows of fencing, and the fencing was about 280 pounds, and me and him both picked it up together.
Yeah,
and he had 6 rows of that, and T-posts, a bunch of T-posts. And he makes cages around his trees, and he told me we put the cages around there until they get established, and once they get established, there's this stuff that they paint on the trunks, that's like a plastic that deer cannot stand to rub against, because that's the main thing that kills the trees, is the rubbing. And he says
like a whitewash.
What do they have, an orchard or something? Or
yeah, I believe so. It's a deer. They have plots for deers, and they grow these trees, but it doesn't do no good if they kill the trees before they produce fruit.
Right.
So he puts the stuff around the trees, because I told him about that bone sauce, and he said it's not so much that they'll eat the trees, it's the rubbing that kills the trees.
Well, I'll tell you a story. My sister's husband and my nephew, their employees, they put like plastic around the trees. They've even in the fall they've already had PCP pipe that was split that you can like bend it a little to get around the tree. The deer have pulled the stuff off the trees. These deer, you get a 12-point buck in there. They put 2x4s in the ground. The deer have rubbed the 2x4s just to get to the tree trunk.
Yeah, he said he's been out there and found dead deer when he has the fence around there, because they'll get stuck in there.
How high is the fence?
It was 6.5 feet tall by 450, I think. But he cuts it around the tree, so there's space, and he uses the T-post. And when I told him about the bone sauce, there's another name for it, but I can't remember. And he said he never heard of it. And I'm like, how come people not heard about this? I've heard. I think it might be a southern thing, because
I've seen deer go back to where I got them across from the garage already, when it's just a gut pile there. They're just sniffing it.
Oh yeah, the bone sauce is basically the bones of whatever animals you can get, and you dig a pit, and you basically cook the bones until all the juices and stuff from the bones, you collect that, and that's the bone. That's the juice of the bone. and it almost makes a tar. And then what they usually do, they put a stake in the ground and they paint this, and animals will stay far away from this. And it's the smell of death, because once they smell it, they scurry away. True Grit, he uses the same thing. He doesn't have trouble with deer. He puts.
I found dead deer in the park like the next day. Turkey vultures led them to me, and that the smell of the dead deer didn't even make a difference with the deer.
That's not the same thing.
I'll be back in a minute. I got to take a shot.
Oh,
And my sister and her husband, they've gone out there in the dark with an LED light, and they've already counted 75 deer on a 42-acre farm in one evening.
Yeah, that's Grace. Those are the band-aids that they have at the first aid kit. That was often probably 2 or 3 bags of mulch. Because not to mention when I had to lift up the bags of marble, band-aids just slide right off, no matter what size they are. It's just because you grab with your thumb, so as soon as you grab with your thumb, it's the band-aids fling right off. It's pretty much sealed up now. It's just annoying because it's right there, that that and the creases is the worst spots on your hands to get cuts.
You got to have a pair of gloves handy in the store when you do that.
Yeah, but the thing is, you have to carry, that's something else you have to carry along and stuff. By the end of the day, I wasn't feeling it anymore anyway, but by the time I got home and got cleaned up, it was because I like the red dye. Somebody, when I was loading the red mulch, it was raining out, and when you're messing with the red mulch,
dye.
It's running down my arms.
Yep.
And I'm getting the load slip from the lady, and she said, or her husband says, it looked like you just murdered a baby seal. I'm like, where'd this come from? This guy's got a weird imagination there.
You figure they put that red dye in the mulch for decorative reasons.
Yeah.
And it doesn't do any good to the plant.
No. It's a pain to get cleaned off too.
And I hate the smell. Some of my neighbors across the street just love the mulch. And when that mulch gets wet after like the rain we had today, it stinks for a few days.
Oh, it stinks anyway. That stuff it's all moist inside that bag because they have holes in it. So it feels, when it rains, it soaks up all that water. And a regular 50-pound bag of mulch ends up weighing 75, 80 pounds when it's wet out or when it's raining.
That mulch smells worse than fresh horse manure.
Oh, I know. We have cacao, and that's what it's called, cacao. It's cow manure. It doesn't smell as half bad as the mulch does. And I try to tell people that when you plant a tree, don't put mulch on the tree, around the tree, because what does soil use to break down the mulch?
Nitrification. And what's going to happen is it's going to deprive the tree of nitrogen.
Yep.
Yep.
And people don't realize that. Oh, it looks so good. And it's even worse when you get the mulch from like tree trimmings and stuff, because it hasn't been dried out or anything. So that's like the worst thing you can put around a tree, because it sucks all the nitrogen out of that soil.
Yeah, that mulch, fresh, tree mulch from like taking down a tree, they put it through, a chipper. That'll set probably 6 months to a year.
Yeah. Now there's nothing wrong with it. Just it has to be able to. Once it's in that breakdown stage, then it's good. You can use it as compost and stuff. But if it's not, especially if it has dye in it, because that dye will stop it from breaking down, but the soil keeps using the nitrogen to try to break down that mulch.
Then the other thing is, if it's a heavy clay soil, too much mulch can cause root rot.
Oh,
it'll
yeah.
hold the moisture.
Yeah.
Like when I put manure down, it's always like some of it's fresh when I get it, but most of it's about 3 to 6 months old. When I put that down around trays, the ground doesn't get too wet because it's partially decomposed. And what it does is it helps because around here in the heat of the summer, we need as much moisture as we can get.
Oh, yeah. And I'll get disagreements about this, but one of the best things, if you can get like Roking, and before I even worked there, that's where I got it. You get these bales of straw that is 99% seed free.
Because it's wheat straw.
You put that in instead of mulch. It's so much. It doesn't take as nearly as much as. Well, look at it. It's straw. Straw compared to a piece of wood. It's not going to take that much time to decompose.
Yeah, just like it's like grass clippings basically. When you mow your yard,
yeah,
in 2 weeks the grass is disintegrated.
Mm-hmm. That's why I'll put grass clippings in a compost area and let it set for a week, and then you can mix it in with your soil for compost. But then again, you have to be careful because you're going to have seeds in that.
Well, too many homeowners they're just worried about aesthetics.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
They use all these chemicals to get rid of those nasty dandelions and all these other weeds, clover. One of the best lawns out there, if you can take all your grass and remove it and just plant clover.
Yeah.
You'll have one of the best lawns because it doesn't grow very tall.
What?
You never hardly ever have to mow it.
Well, sweet clover is a legume. It takes nitrogen out of the atmosphere.
Yep. And you won't get much other plants growing with it because it spreads so much.
Actually, in the stone driveway here, we have clover growing in places, but it's not the sweet clover. I forget what it's called. It's the type of clover because it's a stone driveway. That's a sign of poor soil.
Yeah, clover. I like clover as a lawn. It's very hard though. I've seen a few places that grew it, and with the AOH or whatever those, and
HOA.
Yeah,
I hate them.
They complained about the clover, and I'm like, why? It's better than grass.
Remember the Tommy James song, Crimson and Clover, over and over?
Yeah, but the one I remember, it was a female that come out with it. I can't think of her name.
He was the one that did it the first. I think he was the first that did it.
Yeah, original.
Then you had people that did the song on their own.
Didn't Carpenters do that?
And that was Tommy James and the Shondells.
Not to my knowledge.
No, the woman he's talking about.
No.
I could have swore I've seen her doing it. Jonah Jett?
Yeah, Joan Jett was the one I remember doing it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I still remember when I met her.
Yeah, Tammy Horter's right. Bees love clover.
Yep.
Because it's pollinator.
Yeah.
Hey, Life with Bobby.
Yeah, I was actually in Florida, outside of Tampa. It was a diner that had the jukeboxes at the tables.
Yeah.
I still remember the little flip things where you could flip to the next song. And I love rock and roll. And I played it, and I didn't know who she was. I was just like digging the song, you know. And she came over and rubbed my head and said, "That's a good song, isn't it?" or something like that. I can't remember. And I looked up at her and I'm like, where do I know her from? And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I flipped back through there because you could see the album. And I'm looking at her again, and she shakes her head as she's going out, and the rest of the band goes out with her.
Oh. And ain't nothing wrong with that.
I haven't gotten any work done in 3 days now. Today we had, gosh, it came down hard, about 1.5 inches of rain. I was saying in chat, we've had 4 inches of rain since last Friday.
Well,
Yeah, you got all of our rain we had last week.
Well, the trees look better. The little ones.
Wait a minute. Where'd he go? Monty, I've heard of them, but I've never done one.
What did Monty say?
Sugar. Yeah.
You mean a sugar daddy, money?
No, not a sugar daddy.
Because those things will pull your fillings right out of your teeth.
Toddy. Sugar toddy. Old dish cloth, butter, and sugar for colic babies.
Oh.
I've heard of them. I've never used one. But I wish I'd remembered that back in the day.
Oh, there's something I was gonna say, and it's going back to the baby thing. When a woman's in labor, if you ever witness it as a father or sitting there, you have a much more respect for women after that.
Yeah, the doctor let me cut the umbilical cord.
After witnessing it, than sitting in the waiting room waiting to hear if you got a boy or a girl type thing, like they didn't
In the 60s.
It sounds like back in the olden days, but my days are the olden days now.
Yeah, really. Well, look at it like this. You can't go to a radio station and listen to what we consider, what is that? Classic rock and roll.
Well, classic's better than oldies. I don't want to hear my music being called an oldie.
Well, me and you kind of grew up in the same time area with the music and everything.
Yeah.
Jeff, you and I are getting to be classics.
What do you mean beginning to? Damn, Monty, I feel for you. I really do.
Speaking of stuff with the babies, I was looking on a forum, and one of the main ingredients in baby formula is high fructose corn sugar.
Yeah.
Why do they put? It's because it's cheap to make.
Yeah, and you know what? One of the things, a allegedly, it's more addictive than
Sugar.
no, the I'm trying to think of a word to say for it. The pills they give you for pain that people get addicted to, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Thanks, Grace. She called me a relic.
It's like this. I have a glass of soda in the morning after a cup of coffee. In the evening, I don't like soda.
One of the best soda pops or whatever you want to call it.
Coke.
I've had, believe it or not, I call it a Mexican Coca-Cola, Hispanic Coca-Cola. I went to a Hispanic store and it was a 16-ounce glass bottle. It looked just like a Coca-Cola. And I asked the guy, I said, what type of drink is that? He said, y'all call it a Coke. And I said, I'm going to try it. Dude, that was the best drink I ever had.
What do you remember the brand of it, Jeff?
Coca-Cola.
Yeah, it's
It's
Coca-Cola.
made in Mexico. It's the original formula.
Yeah.
Well, not the original, but without the stuff from South America.
It's probably made with real sugar.
Yeah.
Not
Real
the
cane sugar. Yeah. You can still get it sometimes, even up here.
Yeah. But this was made and bottled in Mexico and shipped up here to Hispanic stores.
Yeah.
And it's got a totally different taste to it.
Well, it's what we remember. That's probably why I like it.
And I've never liked any diet soda at all.
Well, diet soda is actually worse for you than it's not the drug that they use to make it sweet. It's the fact that your body thinks you're getting something sweet, so it releases the insulin. I think actually insulin.
To me, one of the worst drinks they ever come out with was Tab.
I remember that as a kid.
Well,
My sister drank it. I hated it.
God almighty.
Yeah, they have a new thing instead of high fructose corn syrup. I forget. My son's seen it in something that I forget what it was called. But it's they came out with something new. It's something and then corn syrup. I forget what it was.
One thing I don't like about artificial sweeteners is it leaves an aftertaste. I remember when I was a kid, Uncle Al said, you want to try a saccharin tablet and a cup of coffee? And the aftertaste of that thing, I was probably like 6 or 7 years old, and I couldn't wait to brush my teeth.
I can't. Once I drink anything that's got saccharin in it, I cannot get rid of that taste.
You can't get it anymore, can you? It's been outlawed.
There is still a few drinks or whatever that still
have. Stevia, that stuff is good, but it has to be processed right. Oh yeah, Jolt. I used to love Jolt.
Aspartame
I tried that once at the dollar store, a cranberry drink. It tasted good. Then after I drank it, it wasn't as bad as saccharin, the aftertaste.
Yeah.
Then I was reading allegedly about some of these artificial sweeteners could cause people to have heart palpitations.
Well, that's the insulin, and it releases insulin in your system, but there's nothing for it to go after. So it's bad to have it. Well, Jeff knows because being diabetic.
Yeah.
But it's just as bad for somebody that doesn't have it because you're releasing it and don't have nowhere to go. But the stevia, the plant, if you grow it yourself and process it yourself, not rush it, it's a good sweetener. But it has, like I said, it and that's like with anything that you grow, you know what's in it. What you get from the store, you don't know if they sprayed it beforehand, just like the wheat and the grains and stuff that you get your bread. You expect that, you know, that fancy bread that's got all the wheat or not the wheat, but the grains and stuff in it. You think, oh, that's healthier, but a lot of that is sprayed with the pesticide that you eat.
I think there's 2 parts per million. Okay, you know, Roundup or the generic kind, and all the wheat, from what I've read over the years, allegedly.
Well, see, that's when they harvest the wheat, they spray it down to where it kills it, to where they can harvest it. They're actually spraying stuff on there to kill the germination of that wheat. And when it goes from there to the processing place for making bread and stuff, all that chemical's still in it. So that's why it's unhealthy now.
And from what I've read, I think these chemicals, you know what part of the plant they end up going into? The seeds.
Yeah, that's the grain.
Yeah.
Dana B, that's the main reason they sell that. Okay.
But you figure back in the 80s
Crave
is when this really started. When we started doing soil conservation work on the tree at the one tree farm my sister had, they were pushing no-till farming to stop soil erosion. It's the worst of 2 evils.
Well, I don't really till, but I'm going to raise bed. So,
but I'm talking about these farms out in the Midwest where they'll till, like, you know, a quarter mile strip, a half a mile strip long. Because around here, a lot of farmers would just plow and disc, you know, 10-acre shots, and you get a rain like we had today, the soil could all start washing downhill.
Oh yeah.
And you figure, I haven't seen anybody growing wheat close to me in 20 years.
There's no money in it.
There was at a time. There was a time where the guy next to us grew wheat, and he was selling all the straw to land developers to mulch yards for new grass in the yards.
Well, you know,
and there,
when the Ukraine thing started, the Department of Agriculture.
Yeah, they were paying farmers not to plant crops.
Well, not to plant certain crops, wheat and barley and something else. I forget what the third one was. Not because they're encouraging to grow corn, not to eat, but for ethanol. Yeah.
Another thing is commodity prices have dropped. They were telling us there was going to be a big shortage of certain types of products. Well, there's a company in Australia called BHP. Their stock has lost about 40% of its value in the past year because grain commodities have just dropped in price. And you'd think with the war in Ukraine, there'd be a shortage.
It's meant for that, because you know, if back in World War II times, when we needed stuff for K rations and stuff, we grew that stuff. We didn't get the stuff from another country. We grew the stuff. There were federally funded farms, and it actually boosted the economy because these farmers started planting this stuff to go in the K rations and, you know, the food for the soldiers and stuff.
A lot of the farms were being run by females. Their husbands were in the war, where they were working with their young children and their grandfather tending to the farm.
Yeah, and they were making some good money, and that's what boosted the economy that got us out of there was a little bit more than that, but that helped getting us out of depression and stuff.
Well, I've met people that were born in Poland. My son's been in Europe so many times. Most of the farm ground in Poland is basically just reverted. It's all grassland. There's hardly any farming going on in Poland since
Victor Gardens. Now, it's kind of the same thing. We're funding. I say that loosely. Funding the Ukraine thing. We were back then. Funding all this money. Why were we not being told to grow wheat?
Yeah,
we grew wheat before. Why all of a sudden no, don't grow wheat? And they said the FDA, or not the FDA, but the Department of Agriculture, they set the pace pretty much of
they wanted
what to grow that season.
They wanted a food shortage, and the thing is, if you watch Bloomberg TV, they kept pushing it for a few years that there's going to be a shortage of wheat, and there wasn't a shortage of wheat.
Well, that's the thing. We had companies, I'll put it that way, the rich companies had mysteriously stockpiled a bunch of wheat beforehand. We are now run out of those stockpiles.
And one of the biggest problems they have with the stockpiles is rodents.
Oh yeah.
There's probably so much mice turds residue and all that stuff.
Well, where do you think we get all this listeria stuff from? But like everything's designed to make money for those rich people, the
corporate owned farms. And Dana B, I wish they would get rid of ethanol.
Yeah, it's actually bad for motors.
The thing is that if you're going to use ethanol, it would be okay if the engine was designed for just 100% ethanol. But still, ethanol causes water.
Yeah, that's like putting nitro in a motor that's not meant for it. It'll burn it up.
In a heartbeat, one run, that's all it takes.
Yeah, I learned that the hard way.
What did you do?
Well,
what motor?
I had a lot of money and not knowledge and stuff, and we hooked nitro up and blew my first 350 motor, and couldn't understand why all that actually blew the right, or the passenger side's head completely off the cylinder, and went and bought a new motor, and it was actually it was a Corvette, a 68 Corvette motor.
Oh no.
That's not the one that got blown up, but the second was a 68 Vet, and we juiced it up a bit beforehand. We bored out the cylinders and reinforced it quite a bit, and still after every use of nitro, even if you have a very good motor, you still have to do a lot of maintenance on it.
Mm-hmm.
But
see, that's the reason
nothing better than hitting that switch and feeling that
power.
You weren't drag racing, were you?
Yeah, sometimes.
Okay. Well, the statute of limitations is over, so.
Oh yeah,
it still don't make no difference there. You don't want to spread what you used to do.
Yeah.
With a certain generation.
I don't think there's too many young people watching, Jeff, so.
Yeah.
Well, Daddy used to do it. Why can't I? Or Papa done it.
My
You know,
my viewers are from 50 to 60 mainly.
yeah.
Now, if you go to the gaming one, it's lower. It's 20 to 30.
Well, see, that's why we are as good as we are today, is on kind of all the mistakes that we made when we were coming up.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
and it's like I tell my
life.
grandyoungin, you know, in order to be good, you've got to fail.
Yeah, that's how you learn. Yep.
Yeah, and you know you can tell your kids, don't do that because you'll
Don't
get
do as
hurt,
I
or
do,
don't
do
do
as
that because of whatever. They're going to do it anyway,
I do.
and they till
Oh,
they
they'll
learn.
do it quicker.
Yeah,
They'll
and
do it quicker if you tell them not to do it.
like there's always that saying for the stove, you know, don't touch that, you'll get burnt. And they'll go up there, and as soon as they get burnt, they never touch it again.
No.
um,
Or it's like, who was it? Showed a clip of a boy putting a hair clip in an outlet. No. Wait a minute. Hold it. He gets you, boy, you won't do that again now, will you?
yeah,
Heck, my dogs know not to get too close to the space heater.
yeah. What was it? The wife says, "Don't do that," and the kid kept doing it, and he says, and the dad says, "Let him do it. Let him do it.
Yeah.
You won't do that again, will you?"
Well, you know, the bad thing about it is, I did the exact same damn thing, and my daddy was sitting there watching me do it.
Yeah, it is true though. Well, even girls, you know, that your kids will hook up with, well, I wouldn't say hook up, um, be friendly with a girl, you know. I don't know how they put it nowadays, but um, and you know from experience it's not going to go anywhere. Or even with your daughters, you see a guy and you said, that's a bad choice. No matter what you say or do, they're going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
Until they experience it. And that's always been I just let it go, even though I know I'm always there, you know, but
Yeah.
it's something that, you know, because the teenager thing,
Rebellion.
there, if you say, they'll do the opposite just for spite. So it's better just let them learn.
Well, now the way my parents did is tell them not to do something, they're gonna do it. Don't you go in there and clean your room up. I forbid it. You know, I wonder how many youngins went in there and cleaned their room up because parents told them not to. Not many. But oh, well, I'm gonna put it like this: that sandwich I ate a while back ago, it's starting to come back up on me.
I was
So,
going to ask you, what'd you have for dinner tonight?
manwich leftover from last night. It was good last night.
I still haven't eaten yet. Well, I had a banana split. Well, I didn't even eat it all though. I ate up most of the toppings.
Now this one stayed down, right?
Oh yeah, so far.
Okay.
And
Okay.
it's, I don't know, about yay big, but it's real ice cream. It's not the soft serve crap. It's real ice cream, and I think it's 2.5 bananas, and it's chocolate ice cream, vanilla ice cream, strawberry ice cream, and I think the other one is pineapple ice cream.
Are you around banana with the carnivore diet?
No, there's no. The ice cream is nothing carnivore at all.
Okay. Well, at least it comes from a cow.
Yeah, but the toppings, no. Carnivore, you're not supposed to have any sugar, but
What about cheese? Can you have cheese with carnivore diet?
yeah, you don't want to have too much because it's basically you don't want to have anything that's processed, because anything that's processed is hurting your body in the first place. But I think that's why I couldn't eat it all. And I haven't ate anything, so which
Hey, Steph Richards here.
I need to.
Well, you got work tomorrow.
Yeah.
Well, you better get you something to eat tonight, and you may not get a chance to tomorrow.
I am.
Hey, you guys are talking about, when I got a drink of water, how times have changed. It's like mostly all the young people, like my son's 34, all the guys in the entertainment industry, they have piercings, they got tattoos, a lot of them wear leather jackets. And my son has a girlfriend from Baltimore, and I think the first time her parents saw him, they thought he was a biker because of just his appearance, and he's not a biker.
Well, Jim, do you have piercing?
I have no piercings or no tattoos. But their daughter has a piercing, and I think she has a tattoo.
I still only have one piercing in my left ear. Back in the day, in the 80s, if you had a piercing in the right ear, yeah. I like girls, so my piercing's in the left. We'll leave it at that. Nowadays, they pierce everything.
I don't like jewelry. I never got a wedding ring because I said to my wife, that wedding ring's going to get destroyed working outside.
Yeah, wedding rings are dangerous. I've picked up a lot of stuff when I wore one. I still, to this day, will do this, even though I don't have one.
Yeah,
it's a force of habit. When you wear one for so long, I can still feel the indent from wearing one.
My wife's been meaning to get to a jeweler because part of the wedding band is about ready to, it's gotten so thin.
Gentlemen, I'm gonna have to cut it.
You might as well stay on for 7 more minutes. That way we can make it to 10 o'clock. Because I was getting ready to end it anyway.
I guess Eric was probably busy tonight.
I think he went out to have salad.
Wonder if he gets meat in his salad or seafood.
Are we talking about Eric?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He loves salad.
I ain't saying nothing.
Because nobody asked me if I shot anything.
Did you shoot?
I saw deer come out late this morning around 11:30 when it was pouring buckets out of the neighbor's woods. They like to go out in the rain.
I think bushcraft catch on to it a lot quicker. But you was talking about salads, and then all of a sudden you jumped over to Eric, and I said, "Are we talking about Eric?" Yeah,
he loves a big salad. I do too.
Yeah,
with real bacon in it. Not the bacon bits.
New subject.
Yeah, please change the subject.
Eric's not here to defend himself.
We got coupons in the mail today with the Clipper magazine for so much off a restaurant. I said to my wife, how about we go out next weekend? She said, I don't want to eat food somebody else made.
I actually got the coconut water at Aldi's.
That's what it was, coconut. I saw the video in 5 minutes after seeing it. What water was that he used again?
Yeah. Now the thing is, I at first I won't get very many views or anything, and then 6 months down the road, all of a sudden it'll blow up. Like the monkey butter. The first 2 weeks, I only got like under 100 views on it.
What's in monkey butter? You don't have monkeys there, do you?
Coconut and stuff.
I haven't had a real coconut in over a decade.
Yeah, you want. I don't know if you could put coconut milk in it. I don't know what coconut milk would do to it. I was, because there was a couple videos. Oh yeah, you can use coconut water instead of water, and then there were some saying don't because it turns brown, and so that was my idea to put lemon juice in it, thinking it might stop it from turning brown, but it's still clear.
Yeah, mine is.
Just clean the drill bit and drill into the coconut.
No, canning it.
Oh.
Well, see, I canned pineapple. It's been a while back ago, but I didn't put sugar in mine.
Don't put sugar. Oh, it's already sweet enough.
I'm talking about for the syrup and everything. What I done is the peelings and everything that I cut off.
Yeah.
That's what I use. I'm gonna tell you like this: it's better than any canned pineapple you'll buy.
Oh, that is a good price. How big are the cans?
Yeah, really.
Is it the fat, short, fat ones or the tall, skinny ones? Doesn't sound like I'm describing a can of gas.
Well,
skinny ones have more propane in them.
Well, yeah, the short, fat ones are the bigger ones, and the skinnier ones are for like the stoves.
Cooking stove.
I take all three of them. I take the LP, the short, fat, green ones, and the long ones.
Yeah, I just have for
16 ounce
for the stove.
Yeah.
Because I actually used it when the tree came down. That's how we cooked dinner that one night.
Because you lost power.
Yeah. I'm in the process of looking for a stove, a gas stove, because I want to hook the gas up again.
The reason I bought mine is because I was working on the road or whatever, and instead of going out and getting something to eat every night,
yeah,
we went in and bought pork chops and stuff like that and cooked them in the motel room. Damn near got third out of one of them. The man, we was up on the third floor. Manager come and go, I know you in here cooking. I can smell it.
Oh,
I never cooked with a head helper.
Oh shit! I tied my stove onto a string and threw it out the door, window, and set the timer on the microwave so it'd go off. I said, "Man, I'm cooking in the microwave." All right. Yeah, I got my stove back too.
Yeah, I would, and I don't want to say stuff to where people get paranoid or anything or start getting scared or anything, but I do think something is coming. I don't know what, but I've had a feeling to start canning whatever you can get a hold of and stuff.
You think it'll be in May or June or July?
I don't know. I just have a feeling there's something.
I got the same feeling, Bush.
I don't know if it's man-made or act of God, like a solar thing or what. It's just, I think we should be preparing.
Well, I got news about solar. I saw it on the Fox Business Channel. They found that there's a kill switch in all these solar panels. People that spent $42,000 to put solar in their house don't realize somebody on a computer over there in China can turn those panels off so they don't even work.
Oh yeah, that's the thing the solar goes into. What is that
that's
called?
it.
Oh, I should know because I've done enough research on it for.
Welcome to old age, Bushcraft.
It's the thing your solar panels go into, and then it go not a converter, but
inverter.
Inverter. Or no, that's not. It's basically a computer that goes into the inverter that converts it to AC or DC.
Yeah, power inverter changes DC to AC.
Yeah, it's not that. It's not that. It's
Well, just like all these transformers out on the road. I was telling my sister about the Carrington event. I'm surprised she didn't remember this. You figure if we had a Carrington event, the transformers would explode, and the copper, the lines that carry the power could catch fire because that happened.
Well,
graph lines.
Only if it has power in it at the time they'll explode. But
yeah. And Trump wanted to make the grid EMP proof, not just because of some kind of attack, because of a solar flare, and he couldn't get the Republicans to go along in his first term.
Yeah, I was going to say that was his first term. He was wanting that, and build back better, blah blah thing. What did they do?
Not a damn thing.
Take
our money.
All this trillions of dollars. What did they do with this?
I haven't seen any results from it at all.
They did put a solar field down in Texas somewhere that doesn't hardly generate much electricity, and it actually does more harm than good because it actually conducts heat in that region.
Yeah.
It's going to make hot area hotter.
Yeah, it's because all the sun coming down on the glass panels reflects back up. Now, I'm not saying that's what's causing global warming or anything, but it did increase the heat in that region.
Well, like I said, I got a theory about that. Right.
Well, they say the sun's getting out of control with all these solar flares.
Well, and again, there's a cycle to, just like our weather, there's a cycle to the solar events, and we're due for one of those big ones that did that up in Russia or something that knocked down all those trees and stuff. That if it happened now, it would decimate, our grid.
They think that was an asteroid burning up in the atmosphere, but they still don't have proof either way. It could have been a solar flare.
Yeah.
And then the thing is, if a dark star, let's say, NASA has found most solar systems are binary. If there was a dark star that came close enough to the sun, it could draw all the energy off the sun, and our sky would appear red in the day. It won't appear blue anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And it would get cold on Earth because of this.
Well, when was the last time that we filmed Earth from space?
Well,
this is a serious question.
Again. What was the question again?
When was the last time that we filmed Earth from space?
I don't know the answer to that.
Late 80s.
You think what they don't call it a space lab anymore, the thing the astronauts just came back from? You think they'd be filming Earth from that?
Well,
Look
why
how
isn't
many
it televised? They show computer generated clouds, and they show, you know, like the weather, and it's all computer generated. Why are they not showing
The real Earth?
film of Earth from space? I always wondered that. And they saw it, we have this, and why isn't it not being filmed, or why is it not being released? Is our planet still blue from space? You know,
Is there something they don't want us to say?
I don't know.
And the thing is, scientists are saying that all the planets are warming up.
Well, if you look back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and into the 90s, that was a big thing, you know, seeing Earth from space.
Mm-hmm.
And anytime, you know, somebody went up for whatever reason to fix a solar panel or something up there on a space station,
The International Space
they
Station.
filmed it, and in the background was Earth. Now they go up there and we don't see anything. It's not nobody wants to see, you know, space stuff anymore, but it's not televised anymore. They don't film it and they don't release it. And it's kind of odd. I've always wondered that.
Well, some people are saying we're going to see
Interesting.
something in the sky by the end of summer that's coming in, allegedly.
Yeah, if you've seen Wall-E, that's interesting.
Man, it's been so many years since I've seen that movie.
Well, there wasn't no blue.
It wasn't.
Well, we still have oceans and stuff, but from a distance, our planet does look blue because of the ozone and everything.
Yeah, because 75% of the Earth is water.
Well, that too, but yeah. And I've always wondered that's weird.
Well, I learned something tonight.
And at this time, look at all the satellites that are in space. None of them can record anything. And when they do show like aerial footage from a satellite or something, it's not. It doesn't seem like it's from space. It looks like it's from an airplane or something that's within the atmosphere, not from space.
Hello, Miss Tasha.
Well, I guess we had to contact the woman that went up on, you know,
Katy Perry.
Yeah,
maybe she recorded it. Oh boy, that was
okay.
Did your computer glitch?
Yeah, that's a good thing right there. I'm sure we would have felt a polar shift, but what if it moved quite a bit from the polar axis of being 1 point? Maybe it shifted, and that's a thought, because you know, how long ago did it Tornado Alley move? It moved more north, or it expanded more north.
Well, it expanded more north, but it moved more east also.
Yeah, it did.
They think 3 tornadoes touched down around lunchtime in South Jersey. People reported.
Hey, from what I have seen, the weather tonight and tomorrow, y'all under like a tornado advisory up north.
Yeah, that's why I was wanting to get off here a little early, because I thought it's supposed to be hitting here pretty soon.
Jeff, we were in a flash flood watch, and we're still in a drought watch. Figure that one out.
Besides that, Bushcraft's got to get his bunker ready, stocked up.
Yeah, I got to get the pumps so it don't flood up again.
Yeah. Get the air vent and generators going.
That's why I sleep on the top bunk, because the bottom bunk kind of smells a little bit from the last flood.
Well, I know people that, this has been years ago, we lost power and their sump pump didn't work in the basement.
Oh,
I don't have one here.
Basement or stump pump?
Sump pump.
Oh,
We never had water in the basement.
if I ever get rich enough to have one built, I want 2 exits in case one of them gets blocked.
oh yeah.
Our house is, but actually, because of the way the soil is here, the house is built on soft shell bedrock.
Well, Bushcraft, are you gonna go live anymore this week, or just wait till next week and play it by ear?
I don't have my schedule until I go in today, and I just heard it's coming.
Well, the week's almost over.
Huh?
I don't think you're going to go live tomorrow night.
Well, 101's going live tomorrow.
That's what I mean.
I might go up on his panel. I don't know. Well, I should be back in time. That's if he goes live tomorrow. Even though he said he's going live.
We don't know what he's been up to.
That's right, Monty. Out.
Yeah. I was thinking about going last night, but I was beat. Oh man, because I did 9 hours yesterday, and it was full on 9 hours. A lot of times you're supposed to go 2 hours and you get a 10-minute break, and then 2 hours you go to an hour lunch, and then 2 hours after that you take your second 10-minute break. I didn't take any 10-minute breaks. I only took 45-minute lunch because I heard them over the walkie-talkies that they were backed up and didn't have anybody out there, so I clocked in early.
My poor wife and our coworkers, they don't even get a lunch break. The office is so busy. She brings food and homemade food, tries to heat it up in the microwave, and she'll eat like a spoonful, then have to wait on another patient.
Yeah, at nighttime I don't take lunch or breaks for that matter, because it's usually too busy. Plus,
you like day shift or night?
Probably starting to like the night shift better because it gets hot in the daytime. Oh man.
Yeah.
But I'm still going to feel that heat for the first 5 hours anyway at nighttime.
Well, it's like when I used to work on the road with asphalt, man, we begged for third shift jobs to come along.
Tasha, I would say it's doing good. That and doing this work, I'm probably in the 170, 180 range right now, when I was 140,
Really?
150, or 250, 240, 240 range. And that's not the reason I started the carnivore diet. The reason was to try to get my inflammation in my knees and joints and drop my high blood pressure and my sugar, because they said I was borderline diabetic. So now except for my cholesterol. They're saying, oh, your cholesterol is really high, but it's only 2 points higher than it was when I wasn't on it.
Darn.
So, except for today, because I had a banana split. And tonight, after I get off here and cook something up, it's going to be 2 hamburger patties. And that'll do me till tomorrow, and then I'll have 2 more hamburger patties for tomorrow. But I'm going to have to figure something out where I can take to lunch, because working 8-9 hours a day and only eating 2 little pieces of meat is starting to wear down on me.
I want to tell Tammy Hardy, it's like, my wife's a nurse at a doctor's office. There's 2 doctors and 2 physician assistants. She's on the go from as soon as she gets there at 7 in the morning to like 5:30, 6 at night. It's like, she said some days she has to wait on over 100 patients easily. There's like no break. The doctors will get like, order takeout, and they'll like eat a bite, see a patient, then eat another bite between patients. There's like no break.
Okay, guys, I will, and I don't know if I'm working Monday or not, so we'll just have to play it by ear. And I don't know if I'm working Sunday, so I don't know if I'll be there Sunday for the Vineyard Chicks survival seat or not. So we'll have to see. But if anything, I'll see you tomorrow over at 101s if he goes live. But everybody, thanks for coming, and we'll see you on the next one.
Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, yeah. Thank you. YouTube, don't copyright this.